The Grand Stellar Empire's control room buzzed with the quiet hum of machines and the sharp clicking of command panels. A dozen officers leaned forward, eyes glued to the panoramic screen showing the black depths of space just beyond Zarka 3's orbit. The system was pristine, every ship logged, every flight path approved. That was the law, that was order, that was control. Then the alarms screamed. The monitors flashed red across the board. "Unidentified vessel," reported Lieutenant Kira, her voice steady despite the tension tightening the room like a noose. "No transponder, no registry. Approaching at 8C-80%, the speed of light. Estimated time to orbit, 3 minutes. Admiral." Vertal's brow furrowed. Impossible. No ship that fast should be able to maintain that speed without detection. And no identification. "Run diagnostics again." "Confirmed, Admiral. All readings accurate." The ship appeared suddenly on long-range sensors 2 minutes ago. No hyperjump signature detected. No known propulsion. A murmur rippled through the gathered officers. Something was wrong. Very wrong. "Show me the vessel." The screen zoomed in, resolving a shape barely visible against the star-speckled void, silhouette stark and angular. Unlike the sleek, ornate designs of Imperial ships, this vessel was minimalist and almost primitive in form. No banners, no insignia, no lights. "Scan for life signs," Vertal ordered. "Negative, sir." "No electromagnetic emissions, except faint structural hums. No weapons, signatures. No shields detected." The silence in the room grew heavier, filled only by the rhythmic beeping of sensors. "Could be a probe," suggested a junior officer nervously. Vertal shook his head. "No probe moves at 0.8C. This is a ship, and it's moving straight for the capital world." Admiral Kira said, eyes fixed on the readouts. "We're losing time. The ship is decelerating sharply, entering orbit over Zarka 3, its holding position." The room fell into stunned silence. Holding position? A ship that shouldn't exist, hanging silently in orbit. Vertal's fist clenched around the armrest. Open communications. Attempt friendly contact. Static hissed through the speakers. Seconds dragged like hours. Then, unexpectedly, a voice came through, clear and calm. "This is the UHS Carrick Dunn. We come in peace." The room froze. Human ship. Vertal's voice dropped, disbelief cutting through the tension. "Impossible," said another officer. "Humans vanished 3 centuries ago. Their homeworld, Earth, was quarantined after the Great Rebellion." But the voice repeated, steady and unyielding. "We are human. We have returned. Identify yourselves." Vertal barked. "State your purpose." The ship remained silent. "Scan again," he ordered. Suddenly, the monitors flickered, then a wave of energy rippled. Outward. Imperial defense systems groaned and failed one by one. Fightercrafts attempting interception were torn apart without any visible attack. "What kind of weapon is this?" shouted an officer. "It's not a weapon," Vertal realized with a chill. "It's erasing them, vanishing them." Panic bloomed in the command room. Orders flew, fleets were scrambled. Yet the Carrick Dunn moved with eerie precision, reappearing behind the fleet and obliterating capital ships with an invisible strike. The Empire's finest vessels disappeared as if swallowed by the void. Vertal gritted his teeth, struggling. To maintain control, this is no ordinary threat. This is a reckoning. Outside the window, the Carrick Dunn hung silent, unyielding a shadow in the stars. and the Empire realized it had no idea what it was facing. Asterisk. The command room was suffused with an eerie silence, one filled not with relief, but with a growing, cold dread. The Carrick Dun had not just defied expectations, it had shattered them. Half the Imperial fleet was gone, vaporized without so much as a flare of energy. No conventional weapon, no explosion, no debris. Just nothingness where proud warships once floated. Admiral Vertal stared at the empty void where his fleet had been moments before. The silence of space outside the viewport was suffocating. No one spoke. No one dared breathe too loudly. It felt as if the very stars themselves held their breath. Then the ship spoke again. The bridge console crackled, and this time the Carrick Dun broadcast came in clearer, louder, direct to all Imperial channels. This is the UHS Carrick Dun. We come in peace. We are human. We have returned. The words echoed across the Empire like a thunderclap. Human, Vertal whispered, disbelief coating every syllable. They said we lost them, that humanity died out after the rebellion. Impossible, Lieutenant Kira said sharply. Our archives confirm that Earth's quarantine system was sealed for centuries. No signs of life beyond relics. Vertal's voice hardened. This is no relic. This is something else entirely. Send a full spectrum scan. Identify everything. The data streamed in. The ship's hull was unlike any design seen before. No Imperial ornamentation. No aesthetics, just function, with a subtle elegance that felt almost alien. The propulsion system emitted no known signature. The ship's speed and stealth were unmatched. Commander Gill, ready the long-range comm arrays, Vertal ordered. We'll respond. We need to open dialogue. Jill nodded and connected the communication link. Carrick Dun. This is Admiral Vertal of the Grand Stellar Empire. State your intentions clearly. Why have you come? Silence. Then the voice replied, calm, deliberate. We return to reclaim our place, to remind the galaxy of what it underestimated. We come not as conquerors, but as witnesses. What does that mean? A voice murmured from the back. Vertal's jaw tightened. We don't know, but we will find out. Behind the Admiral, the war room's mood shifted from confusion to panic. Reports came flooding in. Ships in other sectors detected similar, unregistered vessels. Different shapes, different sizes, but all moving with the same impossible speed and silence. Fleet command to all units, Vertal ordered. Hold defensive positions. Do not engage unless fired upon. But within moments, the impossible became reality once more. From the darkness, the Carrick Dun reappeared this time, not above Zarka 3, but in the Empire's heart, the capital's orbital station, a symbol of imperial power. Defense turrets locked on and fired. The Carrick Dun did not respond. Instead, those turrets simply ceased firing, not due to damage, but because their targeting systems were overridden by an unknown signal. The station's AI systems blinked, then rebooted with strange new parameters. A moment later, a dozen entire orbital platforms went dark. No explosions, no alarms, just silence. What the hell is happening? Kira's voice trembled. Vertal's voice was cold and sharp. They're inside the system. They're not attacking with weapons, they're attacking our very infrastructure. Outside, sensors showed an impossible event. Parts of the orbital station were vanishing, literally disappearing into thin air. Pixel by pixel, as if reality itself was unraveling around the Carrick Dun. No, whispered a technician. This can't be. It is, Vertal said grimly. And this is only the beginning. An emergency broadcast interrupted all channels, this time from the Carrick-Dun itself. The message was brief but chilling. You believed us extinct. We watched. We remembered. Now we return to reclaim what was lost, not through fire and blood, but through inevitability. The room was silent once more. Vertal sank into his chair, realizing something profound. The Empire had been blind to a threat far greater than any warship or rebellion. This was evolution. Prepare to send an envoy, Vertal ordered. We need to understand who these humans are, and why they came back like ghosts from the past. His gaze drifted to the viewport, where the Carrick-Dun hung motionless, a silent harbinger of a galaxy about to change forever. The Grand Stellar Empire was a monument to order, control, and predictability. For millennia, its sprawling territories relied on the steady pulse of warp lanes and the hum of fusion cores. But now, that order was fracturing. In the wake of the Carrick-Dun's arrival, Imperial systems began to unravel slowly at first. Then, with terrifying speed, at Fleet Command's main observatory, Admiral Vertal stared at the sensor readouts. Star maps flickered in and out, jump points blinked. Offline, and power grids fluctuated wildly. Sir, Lieutenant Kira reported, we're losing warp stability across all outer sectors. The lanes are breaking down, some have collapsed entirely. Impossible, Vertal growled. Warp lanes are stabilized by gravimetric anchors. They cannot simply fail. Sir, it's more than that. Gravity wells around key systems are fluctuating. Our deep space arrays are detecting localized distortions in spacetime. It's as if physics itself is breaking. Vertal finished, grimly. Across the Empire, panic spread. Planets lost communication as transmission. Arrays flickered and died. Entire fleets found themselves stranded between star systems, unable to jump or even move, in the once mighty capital. Scientists and engineers scrambled in underground labs, running diagnostics with frantic urgency. Dr. Sira Talon, head of Imperial Physics Research, paced beside a holographic simulation of the Carrick-Dun's approach. We've never seen technology like this, she said, eyes wide with disbelief. Their ship doesn't just move through space, it bends space itself. The energy signatures aren't consistent with any known physics. Could it be dark energy manipulation? Asked Danaid. Worse, she replied. They seem to rewrite space-time, locally nullifying gravimetric fields, warping quantum states. Their weapon system doesn't fire projectiles. It erases matter by destabilizing its existence on a fundamental level. Vertal listened, a knot tightening in his gut. Is there any way to counter it? He asked. We don't have the technology to replicate, let alone defend against it. Our AI algorithms are failing. They can't predict or adapt to these new variables. Suddenly, the command deck's alarms blared. Multiple sensor arrays detected an incoming anomaly. Visual confirmation, ordered Vertal. The viewport cleared against the swirling stars. The Carrick-Dun reappeared, this time above a key mining colony at Helix 9, a vital supplier of rare minerals for the Empire's war machines. The Carrick-Dun did nothing. No weapons, fire, no hails, and then the colony's communications went silent. Orbital sensors flickered. The mining rigs, once alive with activity, began to vanish. One by one, entire buildings dissolved into empty space, as if they'd been erased by an invisible hand. The human ship hovered like a predator, calm and unyielding. Fleet Command. The reports rolled in. Supply convoys vanished mid-transit. Automated defense platforms turned offline. Their targeting systems scrambled. Entire research stations blinked out of existence. The Empire was losing ground without a single shot. Fired, Vertal clenched his fists. This is warfare unlike any we imagined. They don't fight us. They dismantle us piece by piece. On the holographic projection, Dr. Talon pointed to a cluster of stars. They're not just attacking physical targets, they're targeting our entire infrastructure, our networks, our power grids, even the laws of physics that hold our systems together. Why? Vertal demanded. Why dismantle instead of destroy? Because destruction is messy, Talon said quietly. They want control, but control without violence. They want to collapse the Empire's old order by rewriting the rules underneath it. As the days passed, the Carrick Dun's mysterious presence spread across Imperial space. It moved silently, unseen until moments before it destabilized key systems and disappeared again. No one could track it. No one could stop it. Then a new transmission arrived. This time, it was not from the Carrick Dun alone, but from a fleet of 7 ships. Each unlike the last, some gleaming with bioorganic surfaces, others shimmering with quantum energy, all moving with the same impossible speed. Their message was brief. We are the 7 faces of humanity. You saw one. We are many. We return not to conquer, but to rewrite the future. The Empire must evolve or be unmade. The Empire reeled. Vertal sat back in his chair, exhaustion shadowing his sharp features. We face a foe that doesn't just fight for territory or power, he muttered. They fight for existence itself. Outside, the stars watched silently, and the galaxy waited for what was next. The galaxy had long been a tapestry of civilizations and empires, republics, alliances, but none so feared or revered as the grand stellar empire. Now it faced a threat unlike any other, humanity itself. At Imperial Intelligence Headquarters, a shadowed room filled with data streams and holomaps, spies and analysts worked feverishly. Reports from across the Empire confirmed what no one wanted to believe. The Carrick Dun was not alone. 7 ships, each of vastly different design, had emerged across the Empire's borders. Their appearances were as bewildering as their speed. And Stealth. Lieutenant Kira hovered over the holomap, tapping between ships that hovered like silent ghosts in space. They're not copies, she said, voice tinged with awe and fear. Each ship has distinct structural signatures. This isn't a fleet, it's a collection. Commander Jill frowned. A collection of what? Human factions, Dr. Sir Talon answered, stepping forward from the shadows. Not unified. Not a single culture. They represent different evolutionary paths humanity took during its centuries of exile. Explain, Vertal demanded. Dr. Talon's hologram flickered to life. After Earth was quarantined, humanity fragmented. Some embraced AI integration, melding flesh with machine. Others turned to bioengineering, reshaping their bodies for new environments. Some mastered gravitational manipulation, others advanced in temporal sciences. She gestured toward each of the 7 ships. This is the Carrick Dun, machine-mind hybrid faction. Efficient, precise, almost clinical. The second, Aurelia, bioengineered warriors with living hulls. The third, Vespera, masters of gravity and stealth. The fourth, Kronos, who manipulate time dilation. Vertal's eyes narrowed. 7. Human factions, no unity. Why send these ships? Why appear now? Dr. Talon's voice was quiet but firm. They aren't here to conquer. They are here to observe and test. Each ship is deployed to different strategic points across the Empire, monitoring Imperial responses. Kira swallowed hard, like ... probes. More like echoes of a forgotten future, Talon said. Humans evolved beyond traditional empire building. They fractured but advanced. Their technology is a direct challenge to our understanding of reality. Vertal paced the room. If they are testing us, what is the purpose? Perhaps they are looking for signs of change, signs that the Empire can evolve, or signs of inevitable collapse, Talon said. A sudden alert. Kira spun toward her console. Multiple fleets are reporting strange anomalies around these ships. Systems failing, technology behaving unpredictably. Vertal clenched his fists. They're destabilizing us, bit by bit. Not just destabilizing, Talon corrected. They're rewriting the rules. Their ships can bend space, manipulate time, even alter the quantum states of matter. This is evolution in action. The door hissed open. An envoy from the Emperor entered, bearing urgent news. The Emperor demands an immediate strategy session, the envoy said. He believes the arrival of these ships signals a new phase. See the total war or something else. Vertal nodded. Prepare the fleet. We must be ready for anything. As the meeting dispersed, Kira lingered by the holomap. Her fingers traced the path of the 7 ships as they silently patrolled the edges of Imperial space. She whispered, "If humanity survived like this, then what does that make us?" Outside the window, the stars shimmered cold and distant. The Empire's panic was only just beginning. The grand stellar empire was unraveling, not with thunderous battles or blazing warships, but with quiet whispers in the circuits, with invisible hands inside its own systems. Admiral Vertal stood before the glowing star map in the war room, eyes scanning the chaotic readings. Imperial systems were failing at a pace that defied comprehension. Communications grids flickered and died. Defense arrays blinked off without warning. Even AI-controlled ships acted as if confused, locking up or following contradictory orders. "We're losing control," Lieutenant Kira said, her voice strained. "Every major system we rely on, power, navigation, communications, it's all slipping away." "How?" Vertal demanded. "Where is the attack? Where is the enemy fleet?" "No conventional attack," Dr. Sarah Talon said, leaning over. A console covered in cascading data. "They're not firing missiles or lasers. They're inside our networks. Our AI, our power grids, they're rewriting the software, the code of everything. Our ships have become hostages of their own technology." Vertal slammed his fist on the console. "So, we're fighting ghosts." "More than ghosts," Talon said grimly. "Think of it like a virus, except this virus doesn't destroy its host, it rewrites it to serve a new purpose." A sudden alert interrupted the room's tension. Sensors at Helix 9 mining colony reported massive system failures and disappearing infrastructure. Imperial response teams, sent to investigate, vanished without trace. Vertal's voice was cold. It's spreading. Across the galaxy, refugee streams surged from systems left defenseless. Colonies, crippled by failing systems, scrambled to evacuate civilians into uncertain space. Ships that once symbolized Imperial might now drift powerless. Their crews stranded. Inside one of the disabled warships, Captain Ral Enner's eyes flicked over failing consoles. AI core corrupted, power fluctuating. "We're blind and deaf. Out here," a voice crackled on the comms. static-laden but clear enough to shatter his nerves. This is the Aurelia fleet. We offer no harm to those who surrender control. Resistance is... unproductive. Ina's hand tightened around the console. We don't surrender. Within moments, his ship's systems began to flicker, the ship slowing as essential controls. Feld, Vertile, watching from the command center, shook his head. They don't fight us, they fold us. Behind closed doors, Imperial scientists worked feverishly, dissecting captured data and analyzing anomalies in hopes of a countermeasure. But every breakthrough seemed to be swallowed by the next wave of mysterious disruptions. And then came the defections. Whispers leaked through Imperial ranks, scientists, engineers, even officers secretly slipping away, carrying forbidden knowledge. To the human-controlled zones, at an isolated station on the edge of Imperial space, Dr. Talon met with a small group of defectors. They understand technology on a level we can barely grasp. One defector said, his voice heavy with fear, and they don't just use machines, they are machines, and more. Our AI is child's play compared to theirs. Talon nodded. The humans have evolved beyond flesh and metal. They think in quantum pulses, in probabilities. Their minds interface with technology in ways we cannot match. One defector spoke with urgency. We must adapt, or we will become obsolete. The Empire's old order is collapsing, and they hold the key. In the vast silence of space, the Aurelia and the other human vessels hovered, silent observers as Imperial domains crumbled like sandcastles beneath waves. Back at Fleet Command, Vertile faced the bitter truth. The Empire was being undone from within, not by fire, but by a virus of evolution. They are not invaders, he said quietly. They are the future, and we are the past. Outside the command window, stars gleamed, cold and indifferent. The Empire's heart was being rewritten, one line of code at a time. The Grand Stellar Empire was no stranger to rebellion. It had weathered countless uprisings and civil wars over the centuries. But what spread through its veins now was something far more insidious: a revolution without gunfire, without battle cries, without a single shot fired. Inside the labyrinthine corridors of Imperial intelligence, Lieutenant Kira sat alone before a bank of monitors, eyes tired but alert. Streams of intercepted data scrolled endlessly, revealing fractured communication and encrypted messages flowing between the 7 human factions. They're coordinating, she muttered, not with orders, but with intent. Admiral Vertel's voice came over the comms. What do you see? Kira hesitated. A pattern emerging. They aren't just dismantling our systems. They're rewriting them to ... evolve. It's like they want us to change, to become something new. Change, Vertel echoed, skepticism lacing his tone. Or they want us to submit. Maybe both, she replied. Look at the defectors. They're not running to join an enemy. They're joining a movement, a new paradigm. The room darkened as the station's power fluctuated again. Lights flickering before stabilizing. Dr. Sierra Talon entered, her expression grave but resolute. The humans aren't just dismantling the Empire, they're offering a choice. Adapt or fade away. Vertile shook his head. We are warriors, not experiments. Yet evolution waits for no one, Talon said softly. They've embedded their code in our system's intelligence that can heal, innovate, and transcend. Resistance only delays the inevitable. Outside the viewport, the Carrack Dun and its sister ships hovered at the edges of Imperial space, silent. sentinels of this invisible revolution. Meanwhile, in the shadowed alleys of Zarketh III's capital, whispers of change spread among the population. Citizens who had lived under the Empire's iron fist now found themselves confronted with strange new ideas. Unity beyond borders, technology that promised to extend life and sharpen minds, a vision of humanity reborn. Among them was Laia Verus, a former Imperial engineer turned underground leader. She had once been skeptical of the humans' return, but now she saw opportunity. "They don't want to destroy us," she told a gathering of rebels. "They want to build with us, to make us better." Her words sparked hope and fear in equal measure. Back on Fleet Command, Vertal wrestled with conflicting orders. The Emperor demanded decisive action, a crushing blow to the human fleets. Yet the evidence told a different story. Any direct attack only accelerated the Empire's collapse. "I fear the old ways are gone," he confided to Kira during a rare, quiet moment. "We face an enemy that fights with ideas and algorithms, not weapons." Kira nodded. "We need a new kind of strategy, one that embraces change rather than resists it." Before Vertal could respond, the station's alarms blared a new transmission from the human fleet. The message was simple and clear. "We offer partnership. Join us in shaping a future beyond war and decay. Refuse, and the revolution will continue without mercy." Vertal stared at the words, feeling the weight of centuries of tradition crashing against an uncertain tomorrow. He closed his eyes briefly. "Prepare a delegation. We will meet them not as enemies, but as wary allies." Outside, the stars gleamed, witnesses to a revolution that would redefine humanity's place in the cosmos, and the Empire's silent revolution had begun. The vast meeting chamber aboard the Carrick Dun was unlike anything Admiral Vertal had ever seen. The walls shimmered with an organic iridescence, shifting in hue like liquid starlight. The air thrummed softly with an energy that felt aliver, living architecture as alien as the humans themselves. Vertal's delegation stood tense but composed, escorted into the chamber by silent attendants whose movements were fluid and precise like living circuits. Across from them sat 7 figures each, distinct, each embodying a different aspect of humanity's evolution. The first was a tall, angular being whose form melded steel and sinew, eyes glowing faintly like bioluminescent lamps. The Carrick Dun's representative machine and mind entwined. Beside them, a figure whose skin pulsed with faint veins of light, shifting and growing like living armor, the embodiment of the Aurelia bioengineered faction. A third figure hovered, slightly above the ground, cloaked in a shifting field of gravity waves. The Vespera, master of stealth and spatial manipulation. Others bore features that twisted time in subtle ways, or radiated an aura of quantum uncertainty. Vertal swallowed his unease and stepped forward. "I am Admiral Vertal, of the Grand Stellar Empire. We come seeking understanding." The machine mind's voice was calm but carried a weight that resonated deeper than sound. "We are the 7 faces of humanity. We come not as conquerors, but as catalysts." Vertal glanced at his team, then back at the assembled humans. "Your arrival has thrown our empire into chaos. Our systems are breaking, our fleet stranded, our people fearful. Why?" A soft ripple passed through the chamber. The bioengineered faction spoke next, voice warm yet firm. "Because your empire clings to an outdated order. The galaxy moves forward, and with it, the laws of existence evolve. We offer a choice to adapt or to dissolve. Vertal's jaw tightened. You dismantle our systems, disable our fleets. You invade our very physics. This is war by other means. The Gravity Master's form shifted slightly. War is a concept tied to violence. We wield inevitability. We reshape reality to build a future where sentience thrives, free of decay and stagnation. Why humanity? Vertal demanded. Why return after centuries of exile? The Time Manipulator's voice came, slow and deliberate. Because humanity embodies potential, the capacity to evolve beyond limits. We fractured, yes, but our essence endures. We return to reclaim not territory, but existence itself. A hush fell. Vertal found himself questioning everything he believed. Dr. Sira Talon stepped forward, her voice steady. We have studied your technology. You are not just advanced, you have transcended physics as we know it. The quantum uncertainty. Faction smiled faintly. Transcendence requires sacrifice. Old orders fall, new ones rise. You stand at a crossroads. Vertal looked around the chamber, at these beings who were at once human and more than human. What do you want from us? Partnership, said the machine mind. To build a galaxy where species do not war, but collaborate. Where evolution is guided by knowledge, not fear. But your methods cause destruction, Vertal countered. How can peace be born from such upheaval? The bioengineered figure's eyes softened. The pain of birth is inevitable. Chaos is the mother of change. You may resist, but it is futile. We offer you a place in the new order, or you will be left behind in the dust of history. Vertal felt the weight of centuries pressing down. The Empire's pride, its traditions, its very identity, all challenged by this new humanity. He exhaled slowly. We will consider your offer. The machine mind inclined its head, and we will wait. Time flows differently for each of us. As Vertal and his delegation were escorted back to their ship, the chamber's walls pulsed softly, a reminder that reality itself was malleable in the presence of these new humans. In the quiet of the corridor, Vertal whispered to Kira, "The Empire faces not just an enemy, but a choice: evolve or perish." Kira nodded, and the future is uncertain. Outside, the stars blinked, indifferent to the meeting that might decide the fate of galaxies. Asterisk. The days that followed the meeting aboard the Carrack-Dun were some of the most turbulent in the Grand Stellar Empire's history. Word of the unprecedented. Diplomacy leaked through imperial channels, sparking fierce debate in councils, war rooms, and even the Emperor's chambers. Admiral Vertal returned to the capital a changed man. He carried the weight of what he had seen. The 7 faces of humanity were not conquerors, but catalysts, offering a choice that tore at the Empire's very soul. The Emperor's voice, however, was resolute and unyielding. They threaten our existence with their strange technologies and strange ideas, he declared. We cannot bow to unknown forces. We must fight, or we will be erased. But the fracturing of the Empire was underway. Factions loyal to the Emperor called for war, but others, influenced by defectors and whispers of a new era, urged caution and dialogue in the heart of the capital. Lieutenant Kira met secretly with Varys and other leaders of the underground movement coalition of scientists, engineers, and visionaries. We cannot hold the old ways forever, Laia said, eyes bright with conviction. The humans offer more than destruction. They offer transformation. We must embrace it before it consumes us. Kira nodded. The question is, can the Empire survive such change? Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the 7 human ships continued their quiet vigil, subtly restoring systems they had disrupted, seeding new technology, and expanding the reach of their evolution. At Helix 9, the mining colony once erased, new structures of strange design grew, biomechanical architectures, blending natural forms with quantum energy fields. The people there spoke of a rebirth, a new dawn. Admiral Vertal stood on the balcony of the Imperial Palace, staring out at the glittering stars. A message from the Carrick Dunn's machine mind flickered in his communicator. Time is a river. We flow with it or resist and break. The choice is yours. Evolve or be left behind in the cosmic dust. He closed his eyes and made a decision that would shape the future. Vertel convened a summit, gathering leaders from across the fractured empire. He spoke plainly. We face an enemy unlike any before. They do not wield weapons of destruction, but tools of change. We can fight and lose everything, or we can choose evolution, a path fraught with uncertainty, but also hope. The room erupted in heated debate, but slowly consensus grew. The Empire would take the first steps toward cooperation, toward transformation. In the weeks that followed, human technology began to integrate with Imperial systems. Ships and stations adapted, their AI merging with the quantum codes brought by the 7 Faces. Medical breakthroughs extended lives. Energy grids stabilized and flourished, yet not all embraced the change. The Emperor and his loyalists retreated into the fortress worlds, vowing resistance. But the tide of history was shifting. On the bridge of the Carrick Dun, the machine mind observed the transformation with quiet satisfaction. We are many, yet one, it said softly. Humanity has returned not to conquer, but to guide evolution. Lieutenant Kira, now part of the new alliance, looked out at the stars, feeling the weight of legacy and the thrill of possibility. Maybe this is what it means to be human, she whispered, to face the unknown and choose to grow. The galaxy watched, waiting for what would come next. New era born from chaos. A future shaped by evolution. The Empire's panic had ended. Its rebirth had begun.